Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Off Script with Pastor Jared and
Pastor Dillon and
Pastor Caleb.
Welcome everybody.
Woo.
So today we're going to do a three-man podcast here on a topic that I'm simply calling Dear Graduate. Dear Graduate, hopefully something that can outlast this particular year, that you could look up next year and next year and next year, or no matter where you are, you could send it to the graduate in your life. It's the graduation season, and we're pretty recently had our graduate recognition at Kirby, and we graduated four seniors?
Yep, 4 seniors.
And so I was just thinking about, some things that you might say to someone in that stage of life that is right on the cusp of moving into the next big stage, moving out of the high school age into the college age or into the young adult phase. And I was just thinking, what would be some solid dad advice, some solid
Advice.
words that would set you up for the future, words that would be something to ponder, think about, or just some straight up facts that are, this is what's going to happen. And so I sat down and I wrote out a 10-point, 10 statements, 10 things that you would say.
That's
and,
only 10?
Yeah. And you guys don't know what they are, right?
Correct.
Nope.
This is a live reaction.
All right. So what I want to do is read my 10 statements to a graduate. That's obviously within a Christian framework, but some of these are really practical. Some of these are church related, spiritual related. But I just want to give my 10 points that would be things for a graduate to know as they're moving into the next stage of life.
Are we going one by one, or are we going all 10 and then we react?
We'll do reaction one by one.
All right.
Now, before I do that, I want to give a completely secular thing that has been around for a while, and see if you guys have heard of this before. This is not from me. This is pretty much just standard now from statistics. It's called the success sequence. Have you guys heard of the success sequence?
Maybe.
Depends on what it is.
Depends on how you follow this.
Okay. So there's been this thing out for a few years that a lot of data crunchers have come up with that basically say, if you do these 3 things in order, there is a 97% chance you will not live in poverty.
Oh, I've seen this.
You've seen that before?
I think I've seen this too.
And so basically this is like a really low bar. I mean, it's not like anything crazy. It's if you follow this low bar, the chances that you will go into poverty is 3% if you follow these things. All right. So the success sequence is number 1, finish high school.
Yep.
All right. Number 2, get a full-time job once you finish high school and remain employed. So get a job.
And keep a job.
Keep that job, right? So and full-time.
Or another job.
A full-time status. And then get married, stay married, and have children in that order. Get married, stay married, have children.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, if you do that, if you finish high school, you get a full-time job, you keep the job, you get married, and then you have the child after marriage, there is a 97% chance that you will not live in poverty. That's called the success sequence. So, first thought, any biblical issues with what I just said?
No.
Can't think of any, right? Now, that's not like your entire life. There's more to life than that, but that on its face seems to be good, solid advice.
Yes.
So
I would agree.
So that's kind of been around for a while, and I would just throw that out to any of our graduates. Like, that's not,
or soon to be graduates.
Yeah, I mean that's just data, and that's pretty much just noticing things in life that work.
No, I've heard Dave Ramsey talk about it too.
Yeah,
Podcasts. I think some of the younger guys like Rachel and George Kimmel too have been talking about that.
and again, the bar's really low on that. I mean, get a job, get married,
a job,
and then don't have a baby out of wedlock. Like, you do those things, your chances of success are high. All right. So here's my dear graduate
that's being
points.
not poverty.
Yeah. Dear graduates, are you ready?
Yes.
All right. Now you guys got to react after each point. Okay. So make sure you give me a little something beyond. Okay.
Ready.
All right. All right. Are you ready?
Here's a voice for me. Great.
Number 1. I don't know that these are even in order. They might be in like some psychological order of why I wrote them down, but I didn't intentionally write them in an order. All right. Number 1, graduate. Find a solid Bible preaching church wherever you go and keep an unbroken line of church attendance.
Strongly
Whoa.
agree.
Strongly agree?
I
yeah,
agree.
I
Yes.
think especially that first semester, you're out of your parents' house. That's so vital to
Yep.
find, and don't be afraid to ask like us if we know anybody in that area, because
Yep.
I have connections. Excuse me. All where all our graduates are going, I know somebody at a church there that
Yeah.
I would trust and say, "Hey, go check out this church,"
Mhm.
Yeah.
or be like, "Hey, can you give me a church that's closer to campus or something like that?" But
Right.
that'll make or break you that first semester of how your church life will continue outside of
Yeah.
growing up
The habits.
with parents. Yeah.
Keep the habit up. Like, I don't care if you move in on Saturday, go to church on Sunday.
Yeah. I mean, it's
Because after you skip one week, then it'll be easier to skip the next week, and then it spirals out of control. Keep
and
going.
look for something that is similar to what you've been going to.
Yeah.
You know, if you've been, this isn't like the moment to go nuts and try to find the most insane church you could find or the most contemporary church or whatever. If you have had a healthy relationship with the Lord through your life up to this point, just go look for that somewhere.
Don't fix the stuff that's not broken.
Go look for Kirby Woods, in whatever other state you're going to. There are churches like Kirby Woods in other places, though I think we're special. There are other churches that are like us in other places, and so you can find that. And actually, It says in our church covenant, I might add, it says if you read our church covenant that if I move away from this place, I will in a timely manner find another church that carries out the spirit of this covenant. So you kind of signed up that you would do that anyway. Not that
Yeah, you
anyone
did.
reads that, but
Well, that's
people
good.
read it.
That's good to remember. Now I can start holding you guys accountable.
that's right.
But no, I think that's important. And think of the things that we do here at Kirby and how you're looking for a church, like sound doctrine teaching. That's important. Are you growing in your relationship with the Lord? Are you finding community with other believers? Like I know some of the colleges, you're not allowed to take your car freshman year. Find somebody who can help you get to church. Yeah. A lot of SEC
very
schools and like Tennessee, University of Tennessee.
Is it because of parking problems?
Yeah, Ole Miss, like you're required to live on campus.
Don't like that.
And you're kind of in a lottery where...
Tell me what I can and can't do.
Well,
Mind your business.
I'm just telling you how it is. And so I'd encourage you, like, find somebody that you can bring along with you because that helps you, but also y'all keep each other accountable. If, hey, I'm not feeling it. We were at a whatever you're doing Saturday night. Oh, no, we need to go. Like, I think that's vital.
Find somewhere you can serve.
Yeah. Find somewhere you can serve.
Absolutely.
Worship.
Yep.
So that's
whatever,
number one.
and whatever that service is for you. Some people.
That's number one. Find a solid Bible preaching church wherever you go and keep an unbroken line of church attendance. Number 2, do not date an unbeliever.
Oh my goodness!
Do not date an unbeliever. Furthermore,
You wanted me to have reactions.
Yeah.
Furthermore, base your evaluation of your future spouse on what you see rather than what you're promised.
Ooh, that's good.
So, and that's just to cover the basis of they said they're a believer, right? So there is a little bit further of depth than they said that they're a
They
believer.
said they're a believer, but they don't go to church.
But I'm observing the behaviors, not just that, I'm going to see what I hope to see when we're married.
Yeah.
I don't want to see promises. I want to see what is actually going to
Well, that's
happen.
the whole part of like James. I think it's James 1, where it says that it's talking about works versus faith, and how because of faith you have the works. If they're a true believer, they're going to be going to church. They're going to be
At
I'm
least
least-
looking for fruit.
Right.
looking for the fruit.
So obviously, this is a huge one that I have seen. I think we can all say we've seen to some degree when a believer yokes up with an unbeliever, even in just dating, it can have a negative effect on pulling that person down. And maybe they were going to church, but they started dating the non-believer who wasn't going to church, and then they fell out that way. Or just you fall in love with somebody who doesn't share your core values, and you end up getting married to an unbeliever, and now you've got another problem in your life. Maybe you love each other, but you have a values misalignment that you're not together on the major issues of life. So the best
Comes up a lot.
if you're not supposed to marry an unbeliever, then shouldn't it also be that you don't date an unbeliever,
Just don't even make that an option because it's just going to develop into wanting to do that.
Of course, if you can't marry, then you shouldn't date them because dating should lead to marriage. Unless you have a very weird view of dating.
No flirting to converting. It doesn't work. I promise you.
What do they call it? Missionary dating back in the day?
Very rarely does it work, and that's all by the grace of God. Because
well, that's God redeeming a bad situation.
Absolutely, I can't tell you how many people I know that like they got in. Not saying fraternities and sororities are inherently evil, but like a guy that was involved with me in college ministry, he went into a fraternity saying, "Hey, I'm going to go evangelize," and then he himself began to start going down the path they were on, and he inevitably walked away from the faith because good or bad company corrupts good morals. That is very true. Yep. I think of Psalms, like what is it? Sit in the seat of scoffers.
Yeah, especially if that's all you're surrounding yourself with.
Yeah.
Reminds you the story of when they put the canary and the crow in the same cage, thinking that the canary would teach the crow how to sing beautifully. Well, to much to their shock, they came back and found the canary's once beautiful song was the caw of a crow.
All right, number 3. I thought he was going to say squawk.
Come on, that's pretty good.
Did you make that up?
No, it's
out there. I was like, that was very old-timey for you to make up on the
some
spot.
dead guy said that.
Number 3. Avoid debt at all costs when at all possible. Certainly, avoid student loan debt for a degree or job that cannot repay its own cost.
Yes,
always.
I don't know how you can say it to someone who's 18. I don't know that the average 18-year-old understands what crippling debt can feel like.
Well, we all remember.
It feels crippling.
Like, do you guys remember being 18 and the you're thinking like, hey, and I could go to this college or do this, and then the reality set in, I have to pay for this. Or mom and dad.
Some people, that reality never comes in.
Right. And that can be God's grace of your parents pay for it or whatever. Like I was very thankful my parents helped pay for college.
Right. But I'm saying there's so many people that are in their 40s that are still paying their student debt today.
And like, you don't have to go to the biggest and coolest school. Like, go where you can get a great education.
You don't have to
within
go
your means,
to
or
the school.
You don't have to go to college. I think trades are an awesome thing.
The old adage of in past generations, it was very true that if you went to college, you were like pretty much given a job because you took that extra step. But that's not true anymore at all.
Or what people said is if you don't go to college, you'll end up like that man holding a sign on the side of the road. Then you find out what he's making.
Yeah, he's making $20 an hour 10 years ago.
A lot of college grads aren't making that.
Yeah. And I mean, so if you have a job, if you want to go into a field that needs a degree, like, pastor or doctor or lawyer, where you need that knowledge, go to school.
The question is, and this is true of any investment, what's the reasonable path to return on this investment? Is there any way that a job, first of all, will this degree get me a job in the field that the degree's in?
Right.
If so, will that job reasonably be able to repay this debt at interest?
And could I get the same job and read the books that are taught in the school to get the knowledge?
Right.
Because the books don't cost $30,000 a year.
And that's why you also have a lot of schools, you have a lot of students who think that they have to go to a prestigious school. Dave Ramsey jokes an awful lot about those that go to Vanderbilt versus those that go to UT Knoxville. And, he said, I got people that went to Vanderbilt working for me and I went to UT Knoxville. and the point is, like, if you have the money and you want to go, if you're a parent, for example, and your life goal is to send your child, somewhere where it costs $100,000 and you want to pay for it, that's one thing.
Yeah.
But to saddle that kid with $100,000 in student loan debt. I think the average now is up near $40,000 that they graduate with.
Yeah.
Student loan debts, and students don't understand what interest is, even when they make the deal. They don't understand how it follows you.
The interest on student loans is crazy. People pay for 10 years on their student loans only to find out the balance hasn't changed at all.
And we're learning when the government says, "Hey, we're gonna." They're going to pay these for you. What happened in this last 4 years?
Yeah.
Student loan debt is now you've lost 4 years of payments, and you're still having to pay that final price.
And if you declare bankruptcy, they still get their money. Those don't go away.
Bankruptcy does not clear student loan debts.
No.
So all that.
The only thing that does is death. And that's just passing it off to future generations.
All that to say, students, graduates, is do not just willy-nilly go sign up for a debt that you don't understand. A lot of times you just think that's the next thing to do. It's part of the process. It's like going to college. You get student loan debts.
You got a fancy car.
Please think about that and do not sign up for it if you don't understand what you're doing. Definitely don't sign up for it if there's no reasonable path to repay it. I understand there's some degrees like doctoral degrees, if you're going into medicine, but those repay. Those have a high enough pay to give it back. If you get $100,000 worth of debt and then go into social work, or become a teacher, you'll never pay it back. Never.
Because you're not thinking of that time of a house, children, car payment.
You're starting life behind the 8 ball with extreme financial pressures when you should be minimizing your expenses as much as possible. So please on that one. That's a big one.
And there's scholarships out there for everything. Like, go find scholarships. Like, I promise you. Or go work on campus. Like, to be a tutor, these things, like, you can find ways to pay for
lots of businesses
discounts.
Have scholarships,
like
Kroger's and Brookshire's, which isn't out here, but
Chick-fil-A has
Chick-fil-A.
one.
You got to look into them and find them and write the silly little essay or whatever. But not a lot of people know about those.
And it's okay, graduate, to just say, I can't afford it. I can't.
Yeah,
it's okay. Just go to work. Just start working and say, I'm sorry, I can't afford that right now. If that's what has to do. Now,
online's an option if you're feeling that you need something.
If parents want to pay for it, that's a wonderful gift from a parent to a child. But and maybe parents, that's something for you to think about. Starting your college 529 or however you like to fund it. But
or grandparents,
sure. But anyway, just something to think about. Number 4, utilize the advantage of time on your side. Utilize the advantage of time on your side. So let me give you just a broad statement on it, then I'll let you guys say. Consider who you want to be at 30 to 35, and then begin making decisions to get you there now. Do not fritter away your 20s on parties or meaningless work. Invest in things financially now if you have it. Start that Roth IRA. Save for that down payment, that engagement ring, whatever your goals are. Start now working towards who you want to be at 30, rather than thinking, man, my 20s are my time to get wild and be dumb and learn and do dumb things. No. Start working now on who you want to be when you're 30.
Save for that family. Work hard for them. Even if you don't, one day it does. And wouldn't it be nice to not have to, wait 6 months to save up the money for an engagement ring?
Well, think fellas out there, like, going to your fiance's father-in-law saying, hey, I'm planning to provide and love your daughter for the rest of my life. How are you going to do that if you're not working towards that already? That's a hard sell for the father-in-law. I was terrified talking to Abby's dad. I knew he's going to give me the blessing, Okay, sure. Just some name out there, but they're selling me I had a plan, and now it's great. The plan worked, not the way I specifically thought it would, but it worked out where we're doing great now, But be thinking ahead, I remember being that go with the flow guy. What happens happens, but there's never enough time in the day to do everything. So you need to get on that schedule and figure out in 5 years, how can I do this?
And start now.
Yep.
Start even now. If you're not dating someone, start now.
If you think I'll just snap into responsibilities when I get into my late 20s, 30s,
no, you won't.
You will have missed a window of time. You'll never be as free as you are
in your 20s.
In your 20s. You have free time. Your life is cheap. I don't mean like you could die, but I mean
there's not a lot of things
financially. Yeah. You don't
have to pull or buy diapers every month.
Right.
Cook out and Taco Bell, your body still processes it.
Yeah.
Yep. So we'll get to that in a minute, but yeah, that's just a thing to think about. And, just something as simple as the financial reality, graduates. Listen, if you begin saving for retirement in your early 20s, it has a massive potential to compound by the time you're in your 60s and 70s. There's a difference in starting in your 20s versus your 30s when you think about retirement.
Yeah.
So just $100 a month that if you could set it aside is a really big deal when you add in this extra decade of time.
Yeah.
And I think the plan, your plan's going to change throughout life, but you're working towards a goal,
Yep.
You're going to have ups and downs, hills and valleys. There's going to be hard times in life. but that's when you lean in and remember, hey, this is what I'm working towards. This is what the Lord has called me to. I think that's another big, like, planning these things in accordance with the Lord and his scriptures, seeking him, that Proverbs, trust in the Lord with all your heart, lean not on your own understanding, but in all your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your paths. Like, such a big deal that wisdom comes from the Lord. Be praying for that as you're pursuing goals, and ask for advice from people. Hey, is it crazy for me to think I could be here in 5 years?
Yep. So use the advantage of time of your early 20s and don't just say, all right, I'll mess around for a decade and then I'll get serious at 30. All right. That's number 4. Number 5, maintain a good relationship with your parents. Strike a balance of where your parents will help you with things. Maybe they'll help you financially with a few things here and there, or they give you meaningful advice through different things in your life. But honor them and listen to them, even if you move out. Unless they're irresponsible and bad parents, they will want to help you. So keep the relationship healthy with your parents. Don't burn the bridge with mom and dad when you move out.
Agreed. As somebody who moved back in with his parents for a year, don't burn that bridge, because
Yeah.
we needed somewhere to go the last year where Abby had back surgery. We were in doctoral program, like we were hustling, bustling, paying for that, and that was a blessing for us, because then we didn't really have to worry about rent at the time. And they're there to help you. Like, your parents have been through the similar stage of life.
They didn't raise you up to this point,
Right.
to then be like, all right, get out, man, glad that's over with. They want to see their investment return,
Exactly,
and they
yeah.
want to see you become who they raised you to be. So that's what I would say is, it's so easy on the way out to just be like, hey,
So you never
forget
only
you
weekend.
guys.
I'm going to do
Only
what I
holidays.
want.
Thanks for all the help. I'm
Yeah.
out.
Laundry's coming later.
I would just say keep that relationship and make sure to invest. Now, don't lean on them so much as to cripple yourself, or there's a too much, but maintain a healthy relationship with your parents. Number 6, don't treat a girlfriend or boyfriend like a spouse. Don't alter your life plans for someone who has not bought into you. With a spouse, you mix your finances, you relocate for one another, you move heaven and earth to make them happy and help them and sacrifice for them, and you have a sexual relationship with your spouse. They are part of the family. However, boyfriends and girlfriends are not and should not be treated as such.
Yes.
Thoughts?
I agree. I think that muddies things when you start doing those. Back to that statistic you read earlier, like, it's get married, then have the baby.
Mm-hmm.
We live in a society where sex is not, like, there's not consequences to it anymore. Like, ultimately, like, we all believe babies are a blessing. They're a gift from the Lord, but when you have sex, you're going into that, hey, like, we could have a baby after this. So don't treat it as just a pleasure thing, but it's a be fruitful, multiply, and it's between a man and a wife.
And
I'd
just,
also
go ahead.
I'd also be careful studying the word heavily together and letting that be your only time in the word. I've seen a lot of people where they study the Bible with their girlfriend, boyfriend a lot, and then they break up, and then they can't study the Bible because it reminds them of them too much. And they just stop, and they get
Also,
uninvolved.
being careful confessing sins, because I think you don't have that oneness when you're married. Like, there's some things, like, you're going to be struggling with that you don't have to tell your girlfriend or boyfriend at that time.
That's my point, is don't do
Marriage
wife things, with a girlfriend.
Don't do husband things with a boyfriend.
Yeah, don't let them in. And we joked before going in here. What you said was, don't move across the country for your girlfriend, and who breaks up with you right afterwards, right? I mean, that's what it looks like practically. You've built your life into this person, and then because they haven't bought in, it's nothing to just break it apart. And now you're high and dry. You've moved. You've changed your job. You've made some massive concession for them in your life. And for them, it can just be thrown away. So until there is, nothing's for real until you're married. Nothing's for real. Once you're married, then you're all in. Covenant made, you're all in. Now that you build your life with that person, and then you do have a sexual relationship, and you do mix your finances, and you do consider their happiness, and you do sacrifice for them. But and they are part of the family. That's another thing that always bothers me is when it's, you treat the boyfriend or the girlfriend as if they are a part of the family. That's another thing that the extended family needs not to do. As much as your mom likes the girlfriend, unless you're married, she's not in the family, right? She's not.
Yeah, no, right. And and I think like dating advice, like ladies out there, if a guy truly loves you, he'll protect your heart and his heart. You'll set these hard boundaries and hold him to it. If he's keep pushing it and like, hey, like you really don't love me because we're not doing such and such, like he's not the one for you. Go ahead and break up with him because he's pushing that line to see, manipulating you in a sense. Like build up a wall like the wall of Jericho and let him.
That wall fell.
That wall did fall, but with
Bad
the Lord, with the Lord's help, they
right.
followed the Lord. So when the guy follows the Lord and then you get married, that wall comes down.
I got to get out of here. All right. Number 7. Number 7, build healthy habits, AKA don't introduce addictions, take care of your body, don't watch porn, keep a good bedtime schedule, don't get addicted to media. This is the first time when your parents are not there to stop you and tell you how to live. For the first time, you're going to basically get to do things that you want to do when you want to do them and no one watching over your shoulder. So own your decisions.
Read your Bible. That needs to be a habit.
Yep.
You didn't include it.
Build those healthy habits. It's so easy, and I would just say to go through, it's so easy in your 20s to think that it doesn't matter. Like I can
experiment now.
Well, I can eat the way I used to eat when I was in high school. Well, no, you can't. Let me just tell you. No, you can't. I've been there. You can't, especially if you were playing like a sport and then you stopped all of a sudden and then you just keep eating the same nachos at 11 p.m.
I'm just not going to be a part of this part of the conversation.
Yeah, you don't get to talk about this, Mr. 150 pounds soaking wet. But, I
had 3 donuts this morning.
Me too. Keep a good bedtime schedule. I mean, like it's going to be so easy to stay out all night and do what you want to do and kind of ruin, all the good habits you had when you were in school. Like your life is built around a schedule. People tell you when to wake up. They tell you when to do this, when to do your homework, what to do. And all of a sudden it's gone. And you can destroy yourself if you don't have self-discipline going into your 20s. And it's hard because your metabolism is good. You can kind of get away with a lot of treating your body really rough. But I would just say build those healthy habits that you want to be when you're 30 and 40 and do them in your 20s.
And a added caveat, go to class. You're paying for it. Like, I know the teachers give you that number, oh, you're losing this amount of money, but like it's not worth skipping to go play pool or all this because you get in that habit, then you look up, you've missed 3 weeks of class and you're failing.
Yeah. Definitely don't pay for a class and then fail that class.
Yes.
Or skip that class.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Number 8, guard the company you keep, but proactively make friends. So your circle of friends begins to shrink in your 20s. You kind of go from big friend groups to fewer, smaller, shrinking groups of friends. So be choosy who you let into your life, but also don't give in to isolation. Most people have the most friends they'll ever have. This is stats. Most people have the most friends they'll ever have by age 25, and every year it goes down until you pass away. So you need friends in your life. You need friends, but you become like those with whom you associate. You become your friends. So be careful about who you let into your life, but also don't be isolationists because that's how depression will creep up on you.
Yep. No, that's important. And you have people to go to when you're struggling.
I think that's what happened to your friend that joined the fraternity. Like he surrounded himself by those kind of people and fell away to it. So don't do that.
I mean, you look at biblically Lot. What did he do? He pitched his tent toward Sodom, and then the next few chapters, he's closer, then he's on the city council, sitting out of it. Like you become what you behold.
Yeah. So that's good. Be careful who you hang out with, but also you need some friends, and that might be another side benefit of church. Is a good, healthy church will have good, healthy friends. Hopefully, number 9, become an adult, but stay humble. Here's what I mean. It's normal for people entering their 20s to think that they've learned something, they have arrived, and they know what life is all about. It's easy to look on with contempt at your parents or your former mentors as morons that you are now enlightened and you know things. And I would just say resist the urge to think that because you're in your 20s now and you've gone to taken a few classes and you know something. Resist that urge to think that you know more than everyone who raised you.
No, you don't.
Let me just say, you don't know it now, graduate. You don't know it now, but your future self at 30 will cringe at most of the things that you believe at age 21.
100%. Yes.
And
I'm not at 30 yet, but yes.
take it from a lot of us who had Facebook when we were in high school, or you can go back and
Or
read some of your old posts.
tweets.
Yeah,
your old tweets.
Yeah.
And you were talking Dillon Patrick, then you have USA is blah blah blah. Like you
back in those days.
Oh my!
And you're like,
God.
I am embarrassed of who I was, but that's part of it. And just know that you are learning a lot. You're changing a lot. Your views are high in flux. So hold those views with a loose hand, and don't think that because you've acquired a few new facts about the world that you know more than everybody else. Stay humble in your 20s.
good one. That is a really good one.
Yeah.
Number 10, last thought. A lot can be learned from moving away, but it doesn't have to be a rite of passage. So just because everyone says you need to move away from your hometown to really experience life doesn't make it so. Look at your own situation. It might be the best thing for you to move away. For
That's
some
what happened
people,
to
it
me.
is.
Yep.
You think it was for
I
you?
moved 2,000 miles away.
Yeah, it might be for you, but also I think there's this thing where it becomes hip to say success is to leave, and
no.
I don't know that that's always the case. Maybe this is just a broader thing too. Take other people's advice about your life with a grain of salt. A lot of people want to make their experience the gold standard. Like, I did this, therefore it's going to work for you. And ultimately you have to stand behind the decisions you make. And if you mess up, nobody's going to come, claim. If someone gives you bad advice and you follow it,
That's on you.
it's still on you, even if you believe their bad advice.
You can whine, complain. Hey, you told me to do this. At the end of the day, you made that
You
decision.
said I'd be happy if I moved away and I got away from my hometown, and then I did it and I hated my life.
And now I'm sleeping in my car.
Well,
Yeah.
that person who said that, they were just talking. They weren't thinking through all the
Yeah, I mean, I
intricacies.
moved away for college, but Dylan didn't, and he stayed in his hometown. And,
been here-
and that's okay.
Been here 28 years,
Yep. And I stayed home through 4 years of college, but then I moved away here to Memphis right after that, and then moved away to Colorado, and then moved away to San Antonio, and now I'm back here. It just depends on the situation. But what I would say is don't think that it's a predetermined thing that you must do. Like, you're not cool if you don't leave. You failed. You're embarrassing if you didn't leave. Success is to leave your home and go somewhere else. That's not always the case. It depends very much on the situation. The best thing for you might be to stay at home, live at home for a little bit longer, go to school in town affordably, and build up some savings and work locally,
or work while you're at home.
And really save.
Yeah.
That might be the best thing for you. Don't just think that there's one path and you have to follow that one thing. All right.
Agreed.
So those are my 10. Would you guys add anything?
Don't think that an 8 a.m. class, because you went to school at 8 a.m., you can handle it in college. No, you can't. Sign up for the 9 o'clock.
Okay. Very specific. All right.
Yes, it's very specific, but it's very true. Am I right?
You want to give the teacher's name? Because I feel like...
No.
Anything else? Would y'all add anything or change anything? Or
I think we're talking through it, and we're going to say it, but all throughout this, just rely on the Lord. Like, ask Him to direct your path. Seek wisdom from your parents, from other mentors, because the reality is, like Jared was talking about, them moving away worked for them, but I also have seen instances where people moved away, it did not work, and they had to come back. And that's okay too, because that's also that part of walking in humility, is accepting, hey, I made this bad decision. That's important. Don't burn bridges when you leave, and students, I get it. You're out there, graduates, like, I need to get out. I need to spread my wings. The Michael Scott, You don't know how high I can soar. But what happens when you run out of money, and like there's great colleges all around here. Like Memphis is not that bad to go to school. I'm a graduate of
bankruptcy.
I'm a graduate of University of Memphis. I had a great education, and like I get wanting to get out of the house, but that doesn't mean you got to move 6 hours away.
Especially if it's not good for you personally.
Yeah, because a lot of times the people that move away because they want to get away, they often get caught in trouble.
Yeah. So just, I would say don't use it as a time to get away from the foundational things that made you who you are to this point. Like if you followed the Lord up to this point, if you've been in church, continue that, and don't think, man, what a time to just like, quote, find myself, meaning get wild for a few years and try life away from church and try and see if I want to do something new. Like it's probably not going to go the way you think.
Don't believe that lie. Oh, I have time later in life.
Yeah. Do now what you want to be doing later. But man, I just use the time to grow closer to the Lord and develop your own faith apart from your parents.
That's good.
But don't toss out everything from your parents.
Yeah.
It's a good time to lean in and grow closer to God. Don't think, man, this is a time to test what it's like if I wasn't brought up Christian. Let's see what that would be like. That's a terrible idea.
Yeah, that's what the parable of the prodigal son did.
Yeah, don't do that.
You'll end up eating pig slop.
Yeah. Or don't get in that mindset. You ever heard somebody say, man, I would have done this, but I'm a Christian, Like, don't even go down that road either. Oh, if I wasn't a Christian, I'd be this way.
Now that I'm out from my parents, I'm going to experience all the things I didn't get to do in high school when
also,
the other kids do.
Don't fake the game either. Don't be saying, oh, I'm this goody two-shoes Christian, and then we catch you at parties or on, well, not MTV anymore, but, like, don't be that person. Like, just make your faith your own, and remember, like, you have us here to ask questions if you have something that comes up. Like, we want to be a resource and
absolutely
a bounding wall for you guys as well of, hey, if somebody said something that you got a little shook at, that's okay. Like, come back, ask the question, do the research yourself too. I love that you said that, of making your faith your own, and like, think of all the things your parents have taught you and look for them in the scriptures. Why do we believe that? Because that's so important. Because in college, you're going into a big field, and even the world, where a lot of people don't believe Scripture is true, that they don't believe in Christianity. And so when they say something crazy that rocks you, it's okay, take it and learn from it, but don't be scared to look for the answers, or don't let it shake your whole faith.
So there you go. That's our 10 points of the Dear Graduate podcast. So hope that was helpful to you guys. And if anybody's listening to this in the future as a future graduate, hello from the past. Anyway, hope you guys have a great week, and we'll see you guys on Sunday. Come check us out at Kirby Woods, 10:30 every Sunday. And again, you can find every single off-script episode where you don't have to scroll through our podcast and thumb through the sermons. You can find it all on kirbywoods.org/offscript. Share this one or another one with a friend. See you guys. Bye-bye.
Peace.